Apparently Joe Mixon shot a 13-year-old kid in the leg last night. It's all alleged right now, but there's been police parked outside of his house for like 8 hours. Apparently what happened, the kid had a Nerf gun. Joe thought it was real, so he shot at him like 10 times. Dude, I really hope that this isn't real because, like, you're done. You're done forever if that's true. Why is it hard for athletes? Like, if you are making millions of dollars playing the sport of your dreams, why do you do dumb things? Kid's okay, like I said, leg injury, and they don't know that it's Joe, but why else would the police be parked outside of his house for 10 hours? You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and happy Tuesday. So in honor of draft season, I'm gonna bring back a video series that I did like 2 years ago in the dungeon, and I never picked it back up, and that is talking about people who were drafted very late and ended up being really good. You know, the opposite of a draft bust. This video is specifically being made for anybody out there who might be missing a first round pick, or for anybody who might be scared of blowing a first round pick. This is living, breathing proof that diamonds do in fact get hidden in the rough. Anyway, a couple of quick things before we hop into the video. One, head over to gfuel.com, use code WyattzWorld, save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products. And two, if you're 18 years or older, head over to Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where code WyattzWorld will match up to $100 of your first deposit. Remember guys, always play responsibly, and let's get into a bunch of NFL draft slips. Alright, so these go in no particular order, and I have about 14 of them. So why don't we start off with Tyreek Hill. I know I mentioned him last time too, but Tyreek Hill is such a fascinating story. For those who don't know, he wasn't drafted until the 5th round in 2016. Yeah, Tyreek Hill, the same Tyreek Hill that was on the Chiefs, the same Tyreek Hill that's on the Dolphins now. 5th round! The reason for that, unfortunately, was domestic violence, and that's why teams lost interest in him. Had he not gotten in trouble, he would have been drafted much higher, but him being where he was allowed the Chiefs to pick him up. It allowed him to have the career he's had now, and I don't think he's really been in any trouble since. So good job, Tyreek. You were a slip. Alright, next up we got my boy Judon Poyer. For those who didn't know, he wasn't drafted until the 7th round in 2013, and it was by the Eagles. Yeah, he played for the Eagles, and then the Browns, and then maybe the Eagles again. Either way, when he came to Buffalo, that's when he actually started to do good. Maybe it took him a while to get the hang of it, maybe he's just a product of the system, but being drafted, he didn't have a lot of expectations. Being on the Eagles and the Browns, he didn't have a lot of expectations. He came to Buffalo having little expectations, and then all of a sudden he became this megastar he is today. No, I shouldn't say megastar, but one of the best safeties in the league, undisputedly. I hope we get to keep him, but if we don't, I completely understand it, and I will always be a firm supporter of Judon Poyer. And he is just more proof that there are, in fact, diamonds in the rough. Alright, next player we got is an oldie, but it's Shannon Sharpe, because I didn't know this one until this morning, and it made my jaw drop. Shannon Sharpe, the tight end, the Hall of Famer, the guy that disputes stuff with Skip Bayless every day. He was not drafted until the 7th round of the 1990 NFL draft. Can you imagine that? That's just insane. One of the best tight ends in the history of the game was nearly undrafted. Shannon Sharpe did not have the talent and physical ability of his older brother Sterling, who was drafted 7th overall in the 1988 draft. Shannon also played wide receiver in his rookie season and only had 7 catches and 1 touchdown. Took him a couple years, but he made the switch, he adapted well, and Shannon Sharpe, you made a lot of people look dumb. After Shannon, let's go to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, if you guys didn't know, was actually a 3rd round draft pick in 2013. Yeah, he's old, but he was a golden pick. There's no debating that. 3rd round for Keenan Allen, that's really good, man. I would have thought he was a 1st round pick. College combines and college drafts can really influence a pick, and I'm gonna guess that's what happened with him because it happens very often with receivers. Look at Jalen Reagor and Justin Jefferson, even though that was the Eagles just being dumb. Go back and look at Devontae Adams' draft. He was in the 2nd round sometime, and there was a ton of guys picked before him. Go look at the receivers picked over DK Metcalf a couple of years ago. You know, I feel like judgment is just so hard, especially after the combine, and that's what happened with Keenan Allen. Somebody saw someone else, somebody saw someone else, somebody saw someone else who they all thought were gonna be better, but in reality, good old Keenan Allen ended up being probably arguably one of the best receivers of that entire draft. Here, some of the receivers taken before Keenan Allen that year: Tavon Austin, Cordero Patterson, Justin Hunter, Robert Woods. There's DeAndre Hopkins. You see what I mean though? Diamond in the rough. Alright, up next, this is a good one. It's Stefan Diggs. He wasn't drafted until the 5th round of the 2015 draft by the Minnesota Vikings out of Maryland. Pretty easy to understand here. It was just injuries, and a lot of them, and a lot of significant ones to his ACL, his knee, his leg. Nobody wanted to take the chance on him, and rightfully so. I probably wouldn't have either. However, Minnesota did, and I don't think he's battled a significant injury at all in the NFL. He's been healthy majority of the time. Played very well in Minnesota, got traded obviously to Buffalo, has been a top 5 receiver in the league ever since then. And yeah, now looking at the Stefan Diggs we get to see every week, could you have ever guessed that man was picked anywhere below the first round? Because probably not. Beast. All right, after Stefan Diggs, we got Fred Warner. He was a 70th overall pick in 2018, the 3rd round. Now, that's not necessarily a low pick. That's not like a 7th or 6th round pick, but it's Fred Warner. I would not have ever expected him, seeing him now, that he would have been around in the 3rd round of the NFL draft. Arguably the best linebacker in football right now. Like, I mean, if you're a team and you need a linebacker, you need a safety, you need a corner, and you're going into the draft right now and you're thinking, oh no, we're not going to get anybody because we don't have a high draft pick. Bullshit. You have just as much of a chance of drafting someone good in a later round as you do in the first, and Fred Warner is just more physical proof of that. All right, next up we got Travis Kelce, and he was drafted in round 3, 2013, just like Keenan Allen. Same year, same round. Now, I'm not sure what the reason was. I'm gonna guess people just didn't have a need for a tight end at the time, and he didn't show a ton in the combine or in college. But still, looking at the Travis Kelce we see now, a guy who is certainly gonna retire as a top 5 tight end of all time. I would have thought he was picked at number 7 or 8 overall. Now, I do notice the year he was drafted in 2013, he didn't play. Not sure what happened, but it's the next year, 2014, and all the way to the present that he has become Travis Kelce. Even in his Alex Smith days before Patrick Mahomes, he was the elite guy he is now. And that guy was picked in round 3. Not 1, not 2. Imagine how many teams looked at him and went, we could probably pass, we'll be okay. No, you were not okay. You're not fine still. All right, after Travis Kelce, we've got his brother, Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce was drafted in the 6th round of 2011. Now, I get it. He's a center, right? Like, you're not going to be in any hurry to take a center unless that is your one and only priority going into the draft. But what I don't get is how he was picked that low and how he has done so well. Like, this is nearly undrafted we're talking about. Nobody wanted anything to do with him, and I don't know what it was. Was it his size? Maybe he wasn't the biggest center. Maybe he wasn't the fastest center. Not sure. I think he had a pretty good combine, but he was around forever. Then the Eagles took a chance and picked him up. Turns out he's going to help him win a Super Bowl, almost 2 of them. He's going to go to the Pro Bowl 6 times, be a 5-time All-Pro, and a sure shit first ballot Hall of Famer. All right, next up, we got Matthew Judon. 2016, round 5. Yeah. So I did some digging into this one because I had to understand what happened there. And honestly, the only thing I'm seeing about Matt Judon in the draft is that it was a gamble because of his lack of experience against top competition. Basically what they're saying is he went to a small school and never played anybody good, so how could they actually know if he was good? Makes sense, but 31 teams took a fat L on that 5 times. You know, since joining the league, he was pretty good right out the gate. I think he had 8 sacks in his 2nd season, but obviously when he went to New England 2 or 3 years ago, that's when he actually exploded into the mega star he is right now. Still though, 5th round? That's not a steal, man. That is a highway robbery at gunpoint. Moving on to our next guy, I talk about highway robbery at gunpoint. It is Aaron Jones out of UTEP. Another guy, 2017, 5th round. Same guy that's broken 1,000 rushing yards 3 times in 6 years. Same guy who has scored 43 rushing touchdowns and 17 receiving touchdowns since that draft. Another one of those complete package players, a guy who can do everything and a guy who just sat around and rotted. I did a little bit of digging and his reasoning is very similar to Judon's. He went to UTEP, that's a small school, University of Texas, El Paso. Didn't play a lot of good competition. They were unaware if he was going to be able to adapt in the NFL or not. And well, he did, and people look really dumb. But yeah, Aaron Jones, diamond in the rough, massive diamond in the rough. All right, after Aaron Jones, we've got George Kittle. 2017, round 5. Can you guys guess why George Kittle was drafted late? Because I'm going to assume you can. I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 5. Injuries. Yeah, it was an injury thing. It's been an injury thing ever since he's came into the league. He's a very fragile guy, but he's one of those guys that when he does play, it's special. Makes an instant impact, an instant difference. It's like Gronk, honestly, when Gronk played. Wasn't always around, but when he was, dude was going down. I get it. Like I said with Diggs, I probably wouldn't have wanted to take a chance on Kittle either, and it's honestly still kind of hit or miss if it was worth it or not, considering he still does miss so much time. However, his ability to block, his ability to catch, and his speed is fucking ridiculous. Just really wish he could stay healthy longer, but George Kittle, you were a steal. All right, up next, we've got Max Crosby. He wasn't drafted till the 4th round in 2019. Now, the reason for this, as far as I'm understanding, and it makes sense, is exposure. Like, nobody really knew who he was. Went to Eastern Michigan, like, not a big school. He had one offer coming out of high school, I believe, if I read right. Like, he just wasn't a big name. Max Crosby wasn't something that analysts and, scouts were looking for. And obviously now they probably wish they would have, because he's one of the best defensive ends in football. But at the time, like, they had Nick Bosa out there, Brian Burns, Montez Sweat, Zach Allen. Like, I just feel like Max Crosby didn't grab people back then like he would now. However, it should be noted that this was the same year the Raiders drafted Cleveland Farrell at, I think, 4th overall. Not that he's dreadful or anything, but when you get him at 4th overall and Max Crosby in the 4th round, ugh. All right, guys, we are down to 2 now, and I've saved the best 2 for last. So starting off with the second to last guy, we have Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown was not drafted until the 6th round in 2010. You want to know the reason why? Because people just thought he sucked. The guy's small. He's like 5'10", 5'11". They said he wasn't good at running routes. He didn't have good hands. They said he wasn't physical enough. And at the combine, he just wasn't impressive. Look, I know Antonio Brown now is a clown. He's just a joke. But if you look at the player he was, he's literally like one of the best receivers ever. He was on pace to be the best receiver ever. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I'm not sure his choices will allow him to be in it. Multiple Pro Bowls, multiple All-Pros, a Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure he has an Offensive Player of the Year award. 12,291 receiving yards in 83 touchdowns in this man's career, and he was drafted in the 6th round. The more unfortunate thing about it is he's only 34 years old. And all of this trouble really started when he was about 30. So think of the 3 years that he's missed and think of all the future he could have ahead of himself. This guy really, he could have maybe honestly been the best. And the last person on the list is the best. It's Austin Eckler, because he didn't get drafted. He didn't receive a single fucking phone call. He signed a 3-year, $1.6 million deal with a $5,000 signing bonus as his first ever NFL contract, just scraping to get a job. He sat behind Melvin Gordon as soon as Melvin Gordon got hurt and decided to hold out for that 1 year. Eckler took his opportunity and he did not waste it. He ran with it. 6 years, Austin Eckler rushing, 3,727 yards, 34 touchdowns. Austin Eckler receiving in that same time frame, 3,448 yards and 29 more touchdowns. You're telling me there's not a team that could have used him? If I was Austin Eckler, every single morning, I would wake up, pull down my pants, and press my bare ass cheeks against the biggest window in my house to show the world that they can kiss my ass. Biggest steal of them all. Unbelievable. It's like Adam Thielen, except Adam Thielen ain't no Austin Eckler. Anyway, guys, that is going to be it for my undrafted gems. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, you already know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, turn that bell on. I do my best to post on this channel every single day. Anyway, you guys know the drill. I'm going to hop off and edit this so you can watch it on time. Enjoy the rest of your week, and as always, I will see you in the next video.